of Chapter 32, Downward Spiral. Despite Lucille's condition remaining the same, Jenna seemed more cheerful than usual, as if nothing had happened. Sam wrestled with finding a new sitter, unsure of what Jenna might do in the future. Working from home seemed ideal, but Sam feared too much idle time let her mind wander. Jenna's disruptive behavior made focusing difficult, and while the Lucille incident loomed in the background, Sam couldn't help but notice Ben's odd hours and sudden freedom. Everything seemed peaceful until the day Ben came home to find Sam shouting at Jenna on the front lawn. Without asking why, Ben rushed past them, judgmental and dismissive. He found Sam at the backyard doorway, frantically yelling at Jenna, who stood with muddy hands and a bowed head. Ignoring the ruined garden, Ben scooped Jenna up, hugging her tightly while shooting a disapproving glare at Sam. Jenna, unfazed, smiled instead of crying. Later, Sam wondered what would happen if Lucille, who wasn't improving, died and turned out to be innocent. When she asked Ben about the legal consequences for the family, his unexpected anger left her bewildered as he accused her of being selfish and heartless. "She's not going to die," Ben said, his voice strained. "What if she does?" Sam replied quietly. "I just want to know if we'll need to be prepared. We have a motive for what she did to Jenna. I don't want her death to give her the upper hand." "Are you hearing yourself? Winning by dying?" "That's all you're worried about?" Ben's voice rose. "A young woman is in a coma, someone you've known since she was a teenager, and all that concerns you is the chance of being sued? Her parents just want their child back. That's what normal people want for their children. Maybe you should do some research on that when you have time." "Excuse me?" Both sides were now yelling. "Yes, all you care about is yourself and what you want, and that's exactly what Jenna is trying to imitate. She's trying to cover up what she's done, no matter the cost, by trashing the poor girl. The poor girl who molested your daughter. You're getting worked up just because she's in a coma. Allegedly. We know Lucille, and we know Jenna lies all the time. What about the lie Lucille told about her book being torn apart, which we never found? Book or no book, Jenna must have done something to provoke Lucille. Just 2 hours ago, you were yelling at her for playing with mud. You know what? I think you're the cause of Jenna's anger and violence. If something happens to Lucille, I hope they sue us just because you're the one who turned Jenna into a callous and selfish person, just like yourself. There's no part of you in her." The conversation ended abruptly, and Sam left without a word. Ben knew he had crossed the line and would need to apologize, but he didn't realize that in that moment, he had lost Sam. Knowing he wasn't welcome in their bed, he chose to sleep in Lucille's old room, not because Jenna needed him close, but because he had a sinking feeling that his family was on the verge of falling apart. For someone from a close-knit family, the thought was devastating. The sheets still carried Lucille's faint, sweet perfume, and maybe even a strand of her hair on the pillow. Ben's mind was haunted by images of her hooked up to machines and the memory of her parents, gentle and patient, refusing to give up on her. Restless, he tossed and turned, finding the pillow uncomfortable, as if it were filled with something other than normal pillow material. The lingering scent only added to his unease. Frustrated, he dropped the pillow to the floor and used a corner of the blanket as a makeshift pillow. Sleep remained elusive. He knew he needed help, and Pip had recommended professional assistance. Although Sam was skilled at pretending to listen while doing things her own way, Ben believed that a friend might offer some valuable insight. Jessica, even though Ben had never met her, and despite Pip's doubts about her existence, felt very real to him. She was the only person outside their family that Sam seemed to care about. Ben's last thought before drifting off was to find Jessica and ask for her help. Bang! Ben had barely fallen asleep when the noise jolted him awake. Something had hit the door and fallen to the ground. Still half asleep, Ben stumbled toward the source of the noise. He found Sam lying on the floor of their bedroom. "What happened? Are you hurt? Were you sleepwalking?" Ben asked. Sam, disoriented and frightened, scrambled to her feet and pointed toward the darkened wall. "Lucille was standing there," she said, her voice trembling. Ben scanned the room. "There's no one here. It must have been a bad dream. You must have sleepwalked and bumped into the door," he suggested, switching on the dim lights to help Sam see. Sam called out, "Jenna? Where is she?" "She's in her room. She's fine. It was just a bad dream, Ben reassured her. Sam pulled away from Ben and hurried to Jenna's room. She found Jenna sitting up in bed, sucking her thumb. "Why are you awake, sweetie? Did you see someone?" Sam asked. "No, I just heard a bang," Jenna replied. Ben joined them. "I checked the whole house. No one's here. All the doors are closed," he said. Ben had come to a startling realization the previous day. Jenna's antics in the backyard weren't innocent play. She had dug up the garden extensively, leaving behind a network of holes, too close together and not very shallow. It was as if she was on a quest to unearth something buried, perhaps a hidden treasure. He couldn't help but compare this to his own childhood. If his family had faced a similar situation, his father and siblings would have turned it into a fun, memorable adventure. The stark contrast made him see how different Sam's upbringing had been, growing up in a fractured home with a strict mother and an absent father. For the first time, Ben was eager to see Pip but had forgotten the appointment details. After their argument, he and Sam had barely spoken, and since she didn't want him there, he missed the meeting. Pip was disappointed by Ben's absence. She missed not only the appointment, but also their secret conversations. While Sam was reticent and only shared information when asked, Ben had offered valuable insights for the treatment. Pip found Ben physically attractive and wondered if Sam was still monitoring him. The thought of Ben, naked and sweaty, moving gently in bed amused her, making her feel special despite knowing he might have looked at many women with the same admiration that he looked at Pip.